With reactions to Mayweather vs. Paul, investors not thinking WWE is preparing for a sale, and more, this is Wrestling Up. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for June 7th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. With Eva Marie reported to be back in WWE in September, she has recently made a return to TV in the form of vignettes. When it comes to her program on the main roster, WrestleVotes has noted, hearing the plans for Eva Marie's return include her having a muscle of some sort by her side. The two names I've heard most discussed to pair her with are Mercedes Martinez or NXT UK star Piper Niven. In regards to a date for Eva's official TV return, Andrew Zarian has said, "I'm still being told Eva Marie is scheduled for 6/21. On Twitch, former WWE star Aleister Black touched on the company's creative team and even came to their defense. Money in the Bank with AJ, when I stepped out of the dark and into the dark, this was the first time I did what I wanted to do. It got praised. Don't get mad at our creative. They try their absolute hardest and there are good people working there. I'm very thankful for our creative and have had a good relationship with Bruce Pritchard. He tried to protect me in a lot of situations. He wanted to get me out of the room. The consensus was no one moves like him or has his intensity. My style was a hybrid of traditional wrestling and new age striking. In the last 5 years, I've proven to be one of the most influential strikers of this generation, and I will continue to do that. With him being released from the company on the 2nd of this month, we'll have to see what the future holds for Black." Speaking of releases, Mickie James is mentioned being let go by WWE and her future in wrestling. I'm so nervous because I don't know what to do. I do know that I am personally working on something. I'm working my own little project thing, and we'll see what happens there. Obviously, I have legacy subs and stuff, and I'm taking appearances and bookings, but when I talked to you, Tommy Dreamer, and I was like, I don't even know how I feel. I'm so heartbroken in a sense, I'm not gonna cry, but I'm a bit heartbroken in the business because it's a bit disappointing, that's all. While there was speculation that Roman Reigns would be facing Cesaro or Jimmy Uso at Hell in a Cell, Dave Meltzer has said the current plan is for Roman to defend his Universal title against Rey Mysterio at the pay-per-view. With Reigns attacking Rey and Dominic on SmackDown, this feud is all set up. Anthony Ogogo had a great outing facing off against Cody Rhodes for AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Now he's revealed in an interview with Wrestling Inc. the deal that he signed, saying, "I'm not even on a tier. I took a pay cut to do this. That's how much I wanted to do this. I took a massive pay cut to do this. I'm on a developmental contract. I might be their first developmental wrestler. As it happened, I just developed a hell of a lot quicker than anyone thought I'd develop." When it comes to fans being brought back for events, Ogogo said, "It's been a long time. I was born for the crowd. I was born to perform in front of people. It's going to be great to get in the ring. Whether you be booing me, cheering me, I don't care." Coming from the sport of boxing, Ogogo has experience performing in front of spectators as he hopes to continue parlaying that into a successful professional wrestling career. In a quick bit of news, WWE is apparently planning a shakeup to their rosters, with Andrew Zarian writing, hearing the WWE draft is scheduled for 8:30 and 9:03. WWE has recently fired more than 80 people in the last month, which has led to some speculating that this could mean the company is preparing for a sale. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics would report, "I talked with 5 people in the WWE investor community in the last 24 hours about the notion that the company's recent actions indicate they're preparing for a sale. Not one of them thought so. Even the stock price is no selling wrestling Twitter. In the end, WWE becoming more profitable is a great strategy to open the doors for negotiations for a sale, even if that is not the intention." Andrade recently made his AEW debut on Dynamite with him seemingly paired with Vicky Guerrero. Alito does have a match with AEW champion Kenny Omega down the line, but Jim Cornette on his Drive-Thru podcast had questions and mentioned how Andrade can be pigeonholed in AEW for the first 6 months. He's here to be the face of Latinos and the face of AEW. He's got a thick accent that you can barely understand, so he needs a manager. But Vicky Guerrero, what are her manager qualifications? Every 3 months, she comes down to the ring with Nyla Rose, and Nyla gets beat. And she couldn't sign Jade Cargill, and we don't see her for months at a time unless she's on the floor with the paid fans singing Judas. But suddenly now, I guess because she speaks Spanish, so somehow they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Another false start for this guy. We pigeonhole him in one direction, and then 6 months later, they try to push him seriously. If you would have said in advance Andrade would be on the show Friday night, who cares? It was odd having Andrade interrupt a very short interview in the ring between Tony Schiavone and Mark Henry. Of course, every interview seems to be immediately cut short by another after starting. Still, this concern from Cornette can be felt by fans, as Miro was seen to be floundering in a drawn-out feud before recently becoming TNT champion. Asuka is known for posting bizarre images, and this one of her head and clothes on the body of Batista is no exception. With the animal responding, "I need to process this for a while," then writing, "Okay, I've processed it. Asuka, you have permission to use my body." Following the release of Aleister Black, Big E has no one to feud with at this time, as Steve Carrier of Ringside News reported. "We've been asked about Big E's situation since he missed SmackDown. We were told he was left off the show because Vince McMahon hasn't signed off on a new feud. Black was left off the week after his debut because his release was already decided on." Being a legend in the pro wrestling world, CM Punk has had to deal with his line of work being called fake, as he touched on this for the Wrestling Perspective podcast. "I very much look at wrestling nowadays as theater. There might have been a time when I might have been offended when somebody said that, right? It's like calling it fake. That was probably a time when I'd get mad if somebody called it fake. Now I call it fake all the time." Last night for Showtime, Floyd Mayweather took on Logan Paul in an 8-round exhibition, which went the distance with no knockdowns and no knockouts. This led to fans being in dismay and feeling buyer's remorse, as many in WWE have reacted. With Sami Zayn, a friend of Logan while he was in WWE, would write, "I'll say this, Logan Paul no doubt worked his butt off and proved a lot of people wrong. But if you never meet Sami Zayn, he never realized his perspective, and no chance he goes 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. I'm glad to have played my part in this historic bout." Sasha Banks would tweet, "I want to fight Floyd Mayweather next. Easy money. Bank on it." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.